Reverse osmosis filters. Okay, where do you go to get those? I have a favorite source that I have found, and it's called Pure-Earth, as you see in the screen at the top there, pure-earth.com. Um, the this guy provides a lot of solutions for filtration, including whole house systems, fluoride filters, PFAS filters, which is a forever chemical. You can get filters for just that or that, and a separate one for fluoride. I did a seven stage system for my house, and I'll show that later. That's my next video. This one, I want to show you how to purchase a reverse osmosis system at this website. It's a great website. I highly recommend giving him a phone call. His number's on the screen there. And or you can send him an email, as you'll see right there as well, pure.earth@hotmail.com, or give him a call as you see the number there. So this is the basic landing page of the website. And if you go into the side menu here, you'll see the first one. I talked about providing kind of like the least price to the most price when it comes to reverse osmosis. If you're renting an apartment, or you're in an RV, or maybe you're making home brew, you can get a countertop reverse osmosis system, as you see right there on the left. And this has three different levels of providing the water as far as speed is concerned. The first entry level down below, we'll look at the prices there. It starts at $149. If you consider how much bottled water you buy a year, you can blow that number out of the water, so no pun intended. But $149 would be the least amount you would pay for this countertop RO system that you would adapt to your faucet, and then you would also change out these filters at certain intervals. But point is, the price level and the timing is the first thing we want to look at. Three levels: 50 gallon per day, 75 gallon per day, or 100 gallon per day. 50 gallon per day makes a gallon of water in about 30 minutes, as you'll see here. So that's kind of a bit of a wait. If you're not using the water importantly, or drinking as much as I am, for instance, you don't want to wait that long for that water to be made. Second level is their 75 gallon per day membrane, which is about as little as 20 minutes to make a gallon of water. And then, of course, the most highest level is 100 gallons per day, makes a gallon of water in about 15 minutes. That's pretty quick. So again, for those applications where you're going to not be totally in a hurry about it, you just let it run. Set a timer. 15 minutes later, your gallon's made. You have a 2-gallon container or a 3-gallon bottle. You 5, 10, 15 minutes. 15 minutes times 3 gallons is made. So you just set a timer. Entry level for that item for the 1 gallon in 30 minutes is $149. The next level for the 75 gallon a day is $159, and then $169. So, and you're looking at 150, 160, 170 plus tax, free shipping. I think shipping was included, if I remember correctly, on the homepage. After $99, you have free shipping. So how do you beat that? You'll get it shipped to you for free. You can get a TDS meter for an extra $30. I recommend it. And then, of course, when you go to replace your filters in the future for this unit, you're looking at $29 for the KDF GAC filter. And you replace it annually. It's not bad. Again, after you get the unit, that's pretty low price. Consider how much you pay for bottled water, just as an example. And our previous video, we don't want to drink what's in the tap, do we? The other filter you replace is the GAC post filter replacement cylinder. Or yeah, that's $19. So you're looking at what, 30, 48 bucks? And then there's an optional GAC calcite post filter, which kind of remineralizes your water. You don't need that if you're putting sea salt in your water. If you're not going to do the sea salt method, where you add a 1/4 teaspoon per quart for maintenance dose, or a 1/4 teaspoon per pint for therapeutic dose, you would add this filter, this optional GAC, if you're not going to do your own sea salt or make your own mineral water, because you want to have some minerals in that water. Okay, and then about every 3 years, you want to replace, per whichever unit you're looking at. You can see I've got it highlighted right now. You've got the 50 gallon, 75. You have a membrane to replace. That's $49, $59, $69 every 3 years. What's that? $20 a year, or whatever it is for the middle one. So very low cost entry level for reverse osmosis water to make a very clean water that tastes delicious once you add your sea salt to it. And whatever you're using, pink salt, Celtic sea salt, using the salt that we sell at Salt King, any salt's going to affect the water. So you want to start that water off with at the best, lowest TDS possible. These systems typically bring the TDS down to about 8 when they start out about 161 to 200, and it depends on what city you're in. On that previous video, you can look at the water reports for your city and find out the TDS level of your water, or you use that meter that I highly recommend you buy with this unit. It will tell you your TDS water. And I'm going to do a video on that for my water before and after. I'm just going to show you how to use that tester. So this is the entry level, all right? The next level is where you get into doing a tank under your sink, as you see in the picture there. Looks like a bigger unit, and this is going to be a little bit more speedy. You've got this tank that goes under there. Typically, it's a couple gallon tank. Oh, back to the other one. This one had a 1 to 3 product. Say here, recovery rate is fixed 33%, and it recovers water at a 1 to 3 product to waste ratio. So every 1 gallon, 2 gallons goes down the drain. I believe that's how we're looking at that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 33%. So for every gallon, 1/3 of that gallon is captured. So 128 ounces, what am I looking at? 43 ounces approximately is RO water, and the rest of that water is going to the waste. Now, wastewater, if you're concerned about that when you're using an RO system, there's filtration systems on this website you can use that do not waste water to get rid of all these contaminants. That's a different route. But you can look at that on the homepage and look at the part that says water filters. If you want to see it, it's right here at the top. Replacement water filter. Water filters right here. I'll show that page in a second. So here we are at the second level, US, made in US. Back to the countertop. It's a 1 and 3 is product to waste ratio, which is a great number. Lesser quality you might buy in the big box hardware stores are not that level. I think they're 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 product to waste ratio. You can look them up. Okay, so here we go. We've got the tank and 50, 75, or 100 gallon again as levels. 30 minutes for 1 gallon at 98% purity. And then you have a 50 for 50 gallon, then 20 minutes for 1 gallon at 98% for 75 gallon, 15 minutes for the 100 gallon. This one has a different recovery rate with the tank. This one is a 1 to 4. So 25% of that water, if for every gallon you make, 3 gallons goes down the drain. Where does it go? It goes down the street to the water treatment plant, gets filtered, and it comes right back after they put a lot of chlorine and other disinfectants in that water. Not to mention all the pharmaceuticals that people might be flushing down their toilet that they don't use anymore, or that comes out of their body and goes down the toilet and doesn't get used anymore. There's a lot of things that come back to you in the water, but that's another story for another day. Okay, so what do we do here? We've got, what's our pricing? So this has to be mounted. It gets mounted to the faucet, the angle stop. That's your water supply. Goes to this filter system, uses the faucet on top to maybe do an air gap and then bringing the water down into the tank. And then when you hit your faucet, then it goes from the tank out of the spout. That's typically the flow. You have a 4 gallon tank here. I said a couple gallon, but it's actually 4. And let's look at the price. And there's a picture of the faucet on the left. There's your adapter right there on the right picture. Shows how to hook it up to your angle stop. You got membrane test data. All the test data is always available on this website. This is what I like about it the most. On the last one, we had about 100. I forget the pricing. What we're looking at. Excuse me. 150, 160, 170. Here now we've stepped it up to 350, 360, 370. Now you have a different type of system because you have a similar time to make water, but you have a storage of water. That's the beauty of these systems is you're storing some water so you can go get it right away. Fill up your containers before you leave the house. You got a gallon container to go to work with or what have you. It's ready. It's going to come out real fast, and then the system's going to make its water in the background. So you've got these at 350, 360, and 370 approximately. And then what's the maintenance cost? Okay, so again, this is best when you have a little bit of water to store and it's at the ready. That's a lot better than the previous version. This is more if you're a homeowner, or you can put this in as a handyman and you don't have to worry about taking it out if you're living in a rental, or if you're not, it's your house, you put it in, have a plumber put it in. Pretty straightforward. Replacement cartridges, maintenance cost. Every year there's a set you can buy, as you'll see here on this line here, for $47, $46.95. The sediment, at least every year, he sells it separate at $5.95. The carbon block pre-filter every year at $22. The carbon post filter every year at $19. So they're pretty reasonable. Again, compare what we're talking about to bottled water, and you can see you're saving no matter what. No matter which one of these you buy, I promise you're saving, and you're getting pure water. That's the beauty of this. In addition to those cartridge type filters you're replacing, then you got to replace the membrane every 3 years. So you got to divide this number by 3 to look at your annual costs. The membrane for the 50 is $50. For the 75 is $60, and for the 100 is $70. So it's not too bad. I mean, the first entry level you're getting in there at $350, $349 plus tax, free shipping. Then every year you're paying $46. Then at the third year you're paying $50 plus your $46. That'll be your highest cost maintenance wise. And let's see here. That's about it. You can get a tester again. You can get a wrench to twist these things on and off, and put the new filter in there. And that's the mid level. I would call that the mid level. The speed again is not as great as the one we're about to show, but you can see the potentials here. You have the different levels of entry. Now let's go to the highest one. This is the on-demand Pentair, the one that I showed in my previous video. There's no tank necessary, so you don't have to store water in a tank, and so it doesn't have to refill it. And as you saw in my previous video, it makes a little bit of noise, but it makes it on demand very fast, which is wonderful. Now this one here, I thought it was a 33%, but it looks like it's a 1 gallon treated to 4 waste. It's a 20% recovery. No, excuse me, I'm reading this wrong. Let me start over. While tank type systems may start out with a 20% recovery, meaning 1 gallon treated to every 4 to waste, as the storage tank fills, recovery efficiency drops as low as 5%, 1 gallon treated to 19 gallons waste. When the tank is near full, that's what happens in the tank type, which we just went over. Since this Pentair has no storage tank, the membranes operate at the optimum recovery rate of 29%. That's 1 to 3 at all times. So as you're running this, it's always basically 1 to 3 product to waste, which is beautiful. It's one of the reasons I bought this one, because I knew it was going to waste the least. When I purchased this item, it was definitely less money. I purchased it in 2019. It was about, well, it was definitely less money by a couple $100 at least than this. It was like $300 less than this price. So let's take a look. No tank. You need to have at least 40 PSI, which most houses have that water pressure. And you install it just like I showed on the previous example. You put it to the angle stop, and then it goes up to the faucet. It bubbles, gets an air gap, and then it goes through the filtration, I believe, and then comes back out the spout one way or another. It's a pretty easy system. I'll make another video to show you how it's hooked up under my sink, because that's the only one I have. Maintenance costs. The Pentair, the system itself is $8.99. It's free shipping. You got to pay tax, $8.99 plus tax. Then your cartridges, when you replace them about once a year, which I don't, and there's a special reason I don't. I'll tell you in a second, but you're looking at these filters here. The block pre-filter is $49. The post filter is $29. The membrane every 2 years is about $150. So you're looking at, annual cost of $60, $78, and then every 2 years, $150. So that's $75. So $150 a year approximately. But the reason why don't I do that? When I first put the system in, it showed me a TDS of 8. That was the lowest I got out of the system, because I have 7-stage systems. I'll show in a separate video, filtering my water before this. So by the time my water gets to this, it's already extremely drinkable water. It just hasn't gotten rid of maybe one last thing. But I have a whole house. On this website, you can find this stuff. I have the KDF GAC whole house backwashing. I'll give you a little commercial for the video. I have the KDF GAC whole house water filter, which backwashes itself. I have a tank that does just fluoride, whole house filter system. I have a tank that does just PFAS. I purchased all on this website. That's my stage 3. I have a tank that does water softening. That's stage 4. My stage 5, I did a sediment filter, like a 3 micron, I believe, or it's a 1 micron. That I put in because the next stage is the UV filter, which I also have on there. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th was softening. 5th was the cartridge. 6th is the UV light. And I really didn't need that. I might not even continue using it. It's more for well systems, UV. It kills any contaminants that might be there. But my system already in four main stages is already taking out so much. By the time it goes through the cartridge filter, which is just a paper filter, then the UV light, it's very, very clean. So when it gets to my UV system, I mean my RO system, there's nothing left almost to take out. So this is like my last step to definitely take out what I don't want. And this is my drinking water. So I wanted to take that extra step. Everything else does my whole house. When I take a shower, I don't have fluoride. I don't have PFAS. I don't have chlorine. I don't have anything breathing in arsenic or chloroform or all these other elements because I did a whole house. But the main point of this video is the RO system. I wanted my drinking water to be pure, and I wanted it to taste great when I added the sea salt to it. If you take a glass of your untreated, unfiltered house water and you put sea salt in it, which we did for the first couple years, we were doing our salt water. It didn't taste yummy. It was a challenge. We knew how good it was for us, and I was using a carbon filter at that time, but it was not tasty. I promise you, take your own water and put sea salt in it, and you're going to taste everything. Everything's going to have taste in there. But when you go to reverse osmosis, strip it all down. It's like putting your glass in the rain because it's pure. RO water is the same as rainwater. Its TDS is about 7 or 8. So when you get that pure water, then you add your sea salt to it. Now you're tasting something that's actually delicious. Now you're tasting the profile of those minerals and pure water. That's the goal here. So quick video. I wanted to show you the RO systems at pure-earth.com. Great guy to do business with. He ships it out to you right away. Any issues, he's on top of it. But I haven't had any issues. I had mistakes that I made that he helped me solve, but that's a different issue. It was basically the size of the line I was going to pipe in. I said 3/4, but it was 1 inch, so I had to buy a different adapter. No big deal. So he has other things for sale on this. If you go to the filters, if you click on this page here, water filters at the top, it brings you here, water filters, and you can see he's got whole house water filters, boot bottled water, fluoride water filters. You can go right and look through here and find a lot of resources available. So there it is, pureearth.com. Not affiliated, not making money on this. Just want to give a good tip where to find a good filtration system. The guy's really cool. Best bet I want to advise is just give him a call and send him an email if you want, but give him a call. It's the best thing to do is get him on the phone, talk to him, tell him what you got, and then you can go from there. All right, have a good one.